Chapter 257 Where's your contracted beast? Just what are you doing? Why couldn't the soul shadow nail stop the girl who could use fire? Shen Mingxiao said unwillingly to Peng Liang. Peng Liang was dumbfounded. When she walked down from the arena, it seemed as though she didn't want to give any face to Shen Mingxiao as she retorted, "What? The reason why we lost was my fault?" Shen Mingxiao's face immediately sank as he returned to the group in frustration. Peng Liang was also smiling coldly. He didn't want to put up a front in front of Shen Mingxiao. Either way, he didn't think that this Shen Mingxiao had much ability to begin with. Luo Song was even worse. Xu Delong had said a couple of mocking words afterwards, which caused him to nearly rush back into the arena and start another fight. It simply made him far too angry. "Alright, go and rest up to the side," Ji Yuhan advised the few people who were currently nursing their internal strife. "Mr. Ji Yuhan, let me go up in the next round. I still have some power that I had yet to unleash." Shen Mingxiao immediately asked Mr. Ji Yuhan. Shen Mingxiao was not happy about this. In one aspect, it was because Peng Liang was a dreg of the shadow element. He was also not happy with Zhao Monyan's passive battle style. Just how were these two people chosen as exchange students? They were useless when it came to practical combat. It was like 2 versus 4. If they hadn't lost, then it would have been strange. The next round of people have been confirmed. It's Mo Fan, Mu Nujiao, Song Sha, and Zhang Bingxiao, Ji Yuhan stated. "You might as well have me go next round instead of having that pretentious Mo Fan go. I will definitely win the next round for us, Mr. Guhan. Or could it be that you think we will lose both of the rounds?" Shen Mingxiao's mood was clearly affected, and he was no longer pretending. This. Ji Yuhan glanced at Mo Fan and then back to Shen Mingxiao, who was very determined. From their battle, Shen Mingxiao's strength was indeed the strongest out of the 4. However, a loss was a loss. Ji Yuhan had no reason to have Mo Fan stand down. "Mr. Ji Yuhan, the compatibility between these 4 students is a little bit off. The Imperial College clearly came prepared. There isn't much of a gap between our students and theirs. But in terms of compatibility and teamwork, they are far more outstanding compared to ours. Zhang Bingxiao is a summoner, and so is Mo Fan. The 2 people whose majors are summoning are simply not as effective when they're in the same arena," Mr. Li Jing said. Li Jing had come to the Imperial College before Ji Yuhan and Chu Yuhao. He was primarily responsible for the communication between the exchanges. Mo Fan wasn't there this morning, so he didn't know there was another teacher taking care of the team. This female teacher appeared to be siding with Shen Mingxiao. She added oil to the fire while Ji Yuhan was slightly hesitant. The thing was, Ji Yuhan also thought Mr. Li Jing had a good point. Out of the 4 people in the second group, 2 of them had summoning as their primary element. He was not saying that the summoning element was bad, it's just, in case it was countered by the opposite side, then they would be guaranteed a loss. In that moment, Zhang Bingxiao opened his mouth. "Since it's like that, then Shen Mingxiao, you can take my spot." Shen Mingxiao raised his eyebrow. He actually wanted to take Mo Fan's spot. However, since someone else took the initiative to give that spot away, then that was good as well. "Zhang Bingxiao, are you sure you want to do that?" Mr. Ji Yuhan asked, feeling a bit surprised. Don't worry. It's all for our victory. Since Shen Mingxiao believes that he can win, then I might as well just give up on my spot." Zhang Bingxiao didn't want to fight about that spot as he displayed a considerate appearance. Mo Fan and Zhang Bingxiao could be considered classmates. When they spoke of the 6 people from the summoning element, the only person who was able to contend against Mo Fan was Zhang Bingxiao. The other people could only revere them. "Then go ahead. Make sure you don't lose this time," Chu Yuhao said. "Don't worry, I definitely won't," Shen Mingxiao said with confidence. Shen Mingxiao was more prepared now. When he saw the eyesore Mo Fan in the same team, he recalled the Peng Liang who was a major obstruction for him. He immediately said to Mo Fan with a bad attitude, "You better listen to my instructions later. Don't make any rash decisions on your own. If we lose, then you won't be able to compensate us for it. This is something that affects the reputation of our entire Pearl Institute. In the past, I thought you were a bit arrogant. Who would have thought that you'd be this shameless? If you're not strong enough, then why don't you just sit on the bench? What's the point of bouncing around mindlessly? You even took advantage of someone else's good nature and had them give up their spot for you." Mo Fan knew that Shen Mingxiao was against him, and after seeing his attitude, he decided to not be even a little bit polite. Just what can you be considered? I just don't understand how the school could let someone like you, a waste who only knows how to please the crowd, come here for the exchange. Shen Mingxiao snarled. Mo Fan didn't continue to fight with Shen Mingxiao. He walked over together with Mu Nujiao. Originally, Mo Fan thought Luo Song was the most annoying person. That guy, Shen Mingxiao, was even worse. He better stand closer to the good-smelling Mu Nujiao so he can disperse of the disgusting smell of the two. Shen Mingxiao was fixated on Mo Fan. As he saw Mo Fan and Mu Nujiao laughing and talking, his face sank even more. Shen Mingxiao's pursuit of Mu Nujiao was something the entire school knew about. The major reason behind his great dislike for Mo Fan was very much related to Mo Fan being very close to Mu Nujiao. He didn't understand why Mu Nujiao, someone with such an outstanding personality, a goddess-like person, would actually let a ruffian like Mo Fan stay near her. It must be because she had a good temperament and didn't want to talk badly about anyone, so she let this shameless guy hang around. Zhao Zhao, when the time comes, please make sure to give me more protection. If I can't use magic equipment, then I basically have no defensive method, Mo Fan said repeatedly to Mu Nujiao. Mu Nujiao ignored him. Her relationship with him had yet to reach a state where he was allowed to call her name so intimately. However, this guy was not shy at all. From left to right, he would keep calling her Zhao Zhao. Hearing this made her feel ashamed, and really made her regret not dragging Itutu away back when they co-rented their place. You better use your full strength in this competition. If we lose once more, we will no longer have any face in our school. Mu Nujiao couldn't help but whisper to Mo Fan. Mu Nujiao knew that Mo Fan was capable of using 3 different elements. As the current situation was related to the reputation of the school, he should go all out in this battle. We'll see. I don't really want too many people to know of my magnificent talents, Mo Fan whispered back, but the shameless tone that accompanied his words rendered Mu Nujiao completely speechless. The people they sent out in the first round can't really be considered very strong. I refuse to believe that the Imperial College would only have this little ability, Song Sha spoke up. Those words caused Shen Mingxiao to feel very awkward. I also think so, Mu Nujiao nodded agreement. Mo Fan, you have summoning and lightning element, right? Song Sha seemed to have a natural ability to take command. Even though Shen Mingxiao was present, she still took on the position of the leader of the group and asked, "How's the strength of your summoned beast?" "It's only 1 step away from the warrior level," Mo Fan said sincerely. HMPH, that's basically completely useless in this kind of battle. Shen Mingxiao didn't want to let go of any opportunity to attack Mo Fan verbally. Song Sha, however, creased her eyebrows and asked, "What about your contracted beast?" Contracted beast was a power that belonged to the intermediate level summoners. It allowed a summoner to enter a contract with a young magical beast. This would turn the magical beast into a contracted beast. I have yet to find a suitable one. Mo Fan replied dismissively. Everyone else creased their foreheads. This meant that ever since the rookie competition, Mo Fan's summoning element hadn't progressed by even a single step. That meant he could only rely on a single intermediate elemental magic. Chapter 258 She is my wife. Shen Mingxiao had many grievances. He just didn't understand how such a trash could steal his shadow beast away or how he was chosen as an exchange student. As Mo Fan was being questioned by Song Sha, he was unable to escape feeling a little awkward. In terms of strength, he definitely wouldn't lose to these people. The issues lay in that he was trying to conceal his strength, and could only display the summoning and lightning element. In such a case, he would have a little bit of a difficulty. After all, he indeed had not made any visible progress on his summoning element. Forget it, 1 step at a time. His lightning element was most likely able to deal with everything. Lu Zhenga, Ming Kong, Xiao Jinhe and Xiao Feng. The 4 of you can go. If the Pearl Institute only has that little ability, then the 4 of you will be enough to deal with them, Lu Yiming said with a smile. The group that was sent out in the first round were only in the middle in terms of strength. If the Pearl Institute was not capable of dealing with the people that they had sent out in the first round, then they could forget about obtaining victory in the second round. "Teacher, let me go." At that moment, a beautiful voice, like an ice crystal bell, was heard coming from the parasol outside. Everyone's gazes were immediately set on the girl beneath the parasol. The parasol was quite large, and was at the dark corner of the staircases. Beneath the bright afternoon sun, most people did not realize that there was a girl silently sitting there like a perfumed ice lotus. It wasn't until she stood up, her indescribable cold aura slowly dispersing in all directions, that people discovered that the Imperial College's team actually had such an incredibly beautiful girl. As she walked out into the sunlight, it was like the blazing sun had dimmed down a little. The faint ice fog was burned away and revealed her incredible figure and the snow-white boots wrapped around her delicate legs. Her round, straight long legs were half covered by her long windbreaker. The snow-white windbreaker hugged her skin, outlining her astonishing curves. Her waist was so slim that others wanted to reach out and pinch it. Her chest wasn't humongous, but due to her delicate frame, it made her two peaks appear plumper beneath her silk shirt. Her figure was exceptionally outstanding, but what truly amazed people was her refined complexion. Her facial features were so beautiful it was like she had walked out of a drawing. You couldn't find a single flaw on her at all. If you had to pinpoint a part of her face that wasn't perfect, then it was the lonely and cold expression. However, that was still a part of her ice-cold beauty. Her silver-white hair was extremely eye-catching beneath the fierce sun. At the same time, her snow-white skin appeared to be reflecting the light, giving her a different kind of a temperament. People were having a hard time differentiating whether she was flirtatious or an independent beauty. When the girl walked out, she not only got the full attention of all of the people of the Imperial College, but even the students and teachers from other universities. Originally, everyone thought the girl who was wearing a knitted cotton from the Pearl Institute was extremely alluring, but who would have known that the Imperial College had hidden a girl whose looks and aura appeared to have completely suppressed her. "Ningzhu, they're not enough for you to come out. We can take care of them on our own," Lu Zhenga immediately greeted her. The smile on his face was filled with the intention of currying favor. After seeing Lu Zhenga, the person called Zhao Mingyue began to feel angry. She had no good impression of this girl who was very breathtaking. In truth, Lu Zhenga was rather direct. The other few male students also wanted to say something, but after they saw her cold expression, they put away those ideas. If a girl was only pretty, then her only ability was to draw the attention of other men. To truly hold yourself above these men who were extraordinary and were at an age where they played around, you had to possess beauty while grasping the strength that made men look up to you. Even if Xu Delong, Lu Zhenga, and Liao Mingxuan were quite arrogant, they would still act like a lackey when facing their captain, Mu Ningzhu, or they would feign being aloof and disinterested. "Mu Ningzhu, are you sure you want to go?" Lu Yiming asked sincerely. Mu Ningzhu did not explain anything as she walked toward the battle arena. The man called Xiao Jing, who was among the four of the people who was being sent out, was currently shamelessly smiling as he firmly gave away his own spot while saying, "Since Mu Ningzhu wants to warm her hands, then I will give you my spot, senior. However, this will let the Pearl Institute, who has already lost a round, lose even more face, ha ha ha. Yeah, let them see what a true genius is," Lu Zhenga said. The students from the other universities were dumbstruck as they watched this. From the manners displayed by the students of the Imperial College, the silver-haired beauty was actually their captain? What the heck? They fought for so long in the morning, yet it turned out their captain hadn't shown herself. This really made them quite a failure of an exchange. Shit, this girl looks like my most ideal person in my dreams. After seeing her, I feel like the other girls are all just floating clouds. What do you mean by a floating cloud? Zhou Yutong, I will definitely kill you today. The surrounding arena continued to discuss this. There was even sounds of hissing. Who would have thought that the captain of the Imperial College was actually such a bewitching girl? Over on the Pearl Institute's side, the eyes of shallow guys like Zhao Manyan and Luo Song nearly flew over to the Imperial College's side. Shit, we haven't seen each other for more than a year. She has grown to be even more beautiful. Even a profound man like Mo Fan had to wipe away his drool as he whispered. If this was the ancient times, then this kind of appearance would be enough to start wars between feudal lords. They were sure to be a man-eater capable of hurting a lot of people. Speaking of which, ever since going on a youthful elopement with Mu Ningzhu, Mo Fan had not had any other opportunities to meet her, even though they could be considered neighbors. Mu Ningzhu was very pretty even before puberty. Now, she was so pretty that it was like a lotus fairy had walked out of a drawing. It really made Mo Fan regret that he didn't properly bang her back then. Once the rice had been cooked, who would then care about the bullcrap from Mu Zhouyan? Tisk tisk. We truly did not come here in vain. If I could have that girl, I'd even be willing to lose all of my assets. I have decided, she is the girl that I, Zhao Manyan, will subdue. Zhao Manyan said while making this solemn promise. Me too. I'd even be willing to cripple my cultivation. Zheng Bingxiao hurriedly agreed. Peng Liang nodded in agreement. In the past, when this fuckboy Shen Mingxiao saw a beauty, he would feign ignorance. This time, he was no longer able to pretend. His eyes could not move away from Mu Ningzhu's body. You guys can forget about it. Mo Fan wiped away his drool. Why? Is that girl taken? Peng Liang asked. Yeah, she's my wife, Mo Fan said earnestly. Chapter 259 Ice Elemental Domain. They had never seen such a shameless person in their lives. When Mo Fan said that this goddess-like beauty was his wife, everyone was able to firmly give him this kind of compliment. All right, I brought you guys to fight for the honor of our school, not to fight among yourselves for a woman and lose before you start. Ji Yu Han interjected. Originally, I thought we still had that chance to win. Now, it looks like we really will lose all of our prestige, Mr. Li Jing sighed. He had come here before the other teachers and witnessed Mu Ningzhu's strength. Once she made a move, it was likely that she would begin to suppress everyone on their side. Since we've seen enough, then we can think about how we're going to fight against them. Song Sha spoke up sharply. Mo Fan was not concealing the feelings that he had for Mu Ningzhu, whereas Shen Mingxiao was more fake. It was clear that he had nearly fainted on seeing her, yet he was still pretending to not care about it all as he continued his attempts to earn Mu Nujiao's favor. Mu Nujiao was just like before, too lazy to even care about these two soulless guys. Instead, she was on her guard while cautiously watching the silver-haired Mu Ningzhu. She was able to tell just from the girl's aura that her strength was rather incredible. Even though she wasn't purposely releasing her aura, she was still able to affect the temperature in her surroundings. She was like an ice spirit. No matter where she went, she would always be enveloped in a cold fragrance. Mu Nujiao had heard from her seniors that some special magicians were born with an astonishing innate gift. She assumed that the captain of the Imperial College was precisely that kind of person. Just be careful. She must be an ice magician. When we are in combat, I will do my best and restrict her. You guys go and deal with the other people as fast as possible, so we can join hands and deal with her. Song Sha ordered. Her perception was in no way inferior to Mu Nujiao's. She was clearly able to sense that the elemental energy from Mu Ningzhu was different from other people. Fire and ice have always been mutually restraining. As a fire magician, Song Sha would surely be able to properly restrain the other party. Understood. Shen Mingxiao and Mu Nujiao simultaneously nodded. Mo Fan was still cautiously observing his wife, Mu Ningzhu, at the side. In the very beginning, Mo Fan was in fact very suspicious of Mu Ningzhu's outstanding innate gift. He did not understand why there were so many people in Bo City who admired her so much. However, he now had experience with elemental spirit seeds, and was capable of finally understanding just how dreadful this girl was. Her dreadful ice was most likely not as simple as just being a natural spirit seed. When she walked onto the arena, the ground that she stepped on condensed frost. She did not use any magic, neither did she release any ice aura. All she did was walk. She was like an ice empress, everywhere she walked was an ice domain. A magician with this kind of innate gift was something that Mo Fan had never seen in Pearl Institute. Do you want me to make the formations? Lu Zhenga asked Mu Ningzhu as he put on an appearance to curry favor with her. Mu Ningzhu nodded. Her icy clear eyes swept past Mo Fan on the opponent's side as she appeared to think a little. Seeing Mo Fan here as an exchange student had shocked Mu Ningzhu. Recalling the astonishing scene where Mo Fan had defeated Yuang, Mu Ningzhu couldn't help but wonder just what kind of realm Mo Fan had reached while he was at the Pearl Institute. The most important thing was, she knew of his abilities. She did not want to see her own team lose against the Pearl Institute. Even if the outcome was even, it would be a great disgrace for the Imperial College. Ice spread. Mu Ningzhu stepped back a little. An icy sparkle was sliding down from her white hands. She gently blew with lips that could excite countless people. Frost flew, and the sparkling powder began to spread throughout the entire arena. The cold air immediately pervaded the entire atmosphere. The ground originally had a little bit of frost on it, and looked like icy muslin. However, after Mu Ningzhu used ice spread, the frost had turned into a living plant, like Boston ivy as it densely began to spread all over. The sandy battleground had turned frosted and creased in just an instant. It was white all over, even the leftover water from the water barrier on the battleground appeared to have turned into ice. At this kind of incredible transformation, everyone's expressions changed greatly. Is this really an ice domain? Ji Yu-han, Chu Yu-ha, and Li Jing beneath the arena watched this happen in awe. They had never heard of anyone beneath the advanced level and soul-grade elemental seeds having this kind of domain. An ability like a domain always appeared in the advanced level. Among them, the most classic one was precisely the shadow element's Nyx regime. Nyx regime was able to suppress every element outside of shadow creatures and shadow-type things. Furthermore, it was also able to substantially increase shadow abilities. Its power was something Mo Fan had personally experienced. The other elements similarly possessed domains. However, the elemental domain was usually something that existed only after you had reached the soul grade of elemental seed. An intermediate magician like Mu Ningzhu possessing such an ability, didn't that mean that she was basically unrivaled within her own level? Shit, her domain will be able to completely suppress me. Song Sha's complexion darkened. Her flames were just common grade. Facing off against the spirit grade ice, they would just get suppressed. Who would have thought that this woman's spirit grade ice seed would come with such a frightening ability? Her fire would definitely get suppressed, there was no way for her to fight. Song Sha was extremely unwilling. She clenched her teeth and took the initiative to start her Fire Star Atlas. Song Sha's fire cultivation was not much inferior to that of Mo Fan. Her speed forming a Star Atlas was also very adept. However, as she was halfway through forming her Star Atlas, she began to feel a bone-piercing coldness spreading up from her feet. She immediately broke away from her star linking when she began to feel the cold devouring her. Failure. Her Star Atlas drawing failed. Song Sha's complexion was extremely ugly. She practiced this thousands of times, how could she possibly fail? This was an incredible disgrace for her. The rest of us shouldn't be affected by this. It was also the first time Shen Mingxiao was fighting against someone able to use a domain. His serious expression was at its most extreme. Mu Nujiao also knitted her eyebrows. Her plant element and wind element did not get suppressed by the ice domain, but their strongest firepower, Song Sha, had failed. This made them feel like this fight had gone down the drain. But no matter what, they could not cower. The domain was only able to suppress fire. Their original plan was to have Song Sha stall her, while they would deal with the other people, and then join hands to deal with her. However, now that they looked at it, they must join together to deal with her first. Whether the ice domain was only able to suppress fire was something they weren't certain of. Chapter 260 Warrior Level Summoned Beast. Shit, my speed has also been slowed. Shen Mingxiao cursed. Shen Mingxiao's major element was wind. When he released his star path, he would normally be able to quickly move around within the wind area and only leave behind a remnant of his shadow. However, the ice underneath his feet critically impacted his movement. The chill ice had him feeling like he was running through a heavy snow. The speed of wind trail, floating shadows was nowhere close to the second level of wind trails, flash steps. If the opposite side also had a wind magician that was not restricted by this domain, then his sluggish speed would definitely get beaten down. Lightning strike, wrath shock. As they were just entering the ice domain, the people from the Imperial College immediately began their assault. A primary lightning magic. The purple lightning traces were using the ice on the ground as an intermediary to move. In just a moment, the ground beneath everyone's feet had turned into a long lightning arc as it let out a crackling sound. Ice spread had the power to greatly decrease speed. Adding the lightning strike's paralysis to it, the students of Pearl Institute would have difficulties moving about. Don't panic, let me take care of them. When Mo Fan saw everyone was about to hide, he spoke up. At this moment, Song Sha, Mu Nujiao, and Shen Mingxiao recalled that Mo Fan was also a lightning magician. The lightning strike might not be able to move about freely on the ground. Mo Fan stood in the front and faced the lightning traces scuttling forth on the ground. A purple lightning arc came forth, and the lightning arc began to guide his opponent's lightning strike toward himself. The lightning's arc was just like a python. When it saw that Mo Fan's body had lightning, it began to act like a python seeking its prey, frantically winding around Mo Fan. Soon enough, Mo Fan was completely covered with the lightning arc. Lightning Strike possesses the ability to paralyze and lash others. However, Mo Fan did not feel any of that. As he grasped it in his hand, the aura of the second-level lightning nebula began to spread, quickly intimidating the lightning arc that was attempting to hurt Mo Fan. It's my turn. Lightning Strike. Mo Fan turned all of the electricity into his own power as dark clouds began to gather in the sky above his head. Following Mo Fan's order, the lightning strike with double the power smashed into the ground as it attacked the 4 people from Imperial College. This kid sure is gutsy. Ming Kong, the lightning element user, coldly HMPHED, Holy Shield, Protect. Ming Kong was basically reverse slapped. He had no choice but to use his intermediate light magic, or else the lightning strike would be a great problem for his team. Countering someone else's lightning by absorbing it was something you could only do if you had complete confidence in your own grasp over lightning. Not only did your cultivation have to be higher than the other person, you also had to complete your star path during the moment the opponent's lightning strike was about to take effect. If not, the lightning wouldn't be able to come forth, and could potentially feed back to the user and injure them badly. Mo Fan had watched the opponent's lightning strike as he was completing his star atlas. If there was any kind of slip-up during this process, he would have had to use his own flesh to defend against the lightning strike. Good job! Song Sha exclaimed in praise. Mu Nujiao's eyes also began to shine a bit. This great demon of Pearl Institute sure was extremely brazen. He actually returned the lightning back with double the energy to the other person, giving the other caster no choice but to use their intermediate spell to block it. Everyone had a limited amount of mana. Intermediate magic was not something they could use without limit. Every time they used intermediate magic, they would use up a lot of mana. Thus, if they were able to use primary magic to force their opponents to use an intermediate spell to defend, they'd be making a profit. Your little trick was a bit too shallow. Let me deal with them. Lu Zhenga was displaying his extreme arrogance in front of the others. This guy had been standing at the very back from the start. It wasn't because he was afraid. It was because as long as he was able to call forth his contracted beast, then the opposite side would get beaten down easily. Drawing the star atlas of the summoning element was extremely strenuous. Furthermore, it was equal to multiple uses of intermediate magic. The summoning element's intermediate magic activation time was 2 or 3 times longer than other elements. To justify smiling arrogantly within this area, Lu Zhenga did not want to make any mistakes as he went through the summoning. His star atlas was already 3/4 complete, and Lu Zhenga couldn't help but smile. The people from Pearl Institute were a group of blockheads. They actually didn't know what kind of consequences came from allowing a summoner to complete his magic. Do you really think you can safely summon? Just as Lu Zhenga was feeling a bit of disdain, a voice came forth from the wind. Lu Zhenga looked to his side, and realized the guy called Shen Mingxiao had used his wind trail to appear there from nowhere. He. Do you really think you can interrupt me? Lu Zhenga was a bit surprised, but he was not panicking. His star atlas did not stop, he was only missing the last link of the star path. Shen Mingxiao hated people who looked down on him. He drew help from his own speed to create a frantic wind. It was like an autumn gale sweeping away the fallen leaves as it swept toward Lu Zhenga. The places Shen Mingxiao quickly moved through immediately created a chaotic slipstream. It was like a current had suddenly struck against a rock, creating an incredibly strong force as it attacked Lu Zhenga. Lu Zhenga stood there without moving. His face was filled with smiles. Just as the frantic wind was about to blow him away, countless water droplets suddenly came out of nowhere. The blue water droplets gathered and turned into a soft water barrier. The water barrier curled in front of Lu Zhenga in order to protect him from the engulfing, frantic wind. The water barrier was like a waterfall being blown by a strong wind, and began to slant sideways. However, Lu Zhenga was perfectly unharmed behind the protection of the water barrier. You can die now. Lu Zhenga mocked his attacker. Contract summoning, Violent Mark Wolf. The pattern on the ground glowed like a moon. Lu Zhenga confidently took a few steps backward, and the pattern suddenly grew a few times bigger. It felt like an ancient painting drawn above the ice, where each stroke was filled with some unknown energy that did not belong to this world. As the glow reached its brightest point, the pattern suddenly became dark, like a black hole. A ferocious creature with an appearance similar to a wolf slowly floated up out of the hole. Its fangs were incredibly sharp, while its savage nature was totally exposed by its pitch-black eyes. Its body was the size of an elephant, cracking the ice under its feet as it shifted its weight. What astounded the crowd the most was the crazy marks spread all across its body, covering it from neck to tail as if it were placed under a curse, or some kind of seal that was restricting its power. Gods, a warrior-level summoned creature. Some random student from a random school suddenly screamed. Warrior level,